Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at scatter plots and writing an equation of a line of best fit. Sometimes this is called a regression line. Before we do that, I want to do just a quick review. When we talk about scatter plots and we have points that look like they're increasing, remember we say there's a positive trend or a positive correlation. And then if we have points or scatter plots that are going down or decreasing, we say that this has a negative trend, association, relationship, or correlation. So we're going to take this understanding a step farther today. And we are actually going to write the equation. We want to try to get a line. And see, even that's not too good. We want to try to get a line as close to all the points as possible. And then we're going to write the equation of that line to help us make predictions about that relationship. And same thing over here. You want your line to be as close to the middle of all those points as possible. And if you'll remember, when we're writing equations of lines, we use the form y equals mx plus b, where m is our y-intercept, and your m is your slope or your rise over run. So that's actually how we're going to model these lines today. So while we're talking about that, let's look at some of the examples you'll see. And I'm actually going to go down to situations where you're actually given the graph and asked to match it with the correct equation. So when I look at this first example, I have four choices. And remember, I want your thinking to focus on y equals mx plus b. That's what we're going to use for this entire assignment. So I have four choices. I have y equals x minus 2, y equals negative x minus 2, y equals negative 2, and x equals negative 2. So the first thing I want to test is my b, which is my y-intercept. So if I do that, I clearly have a y-intercept of negative 2. So I can't really eliminate anything based on the negative 2. But now I want to look at my slope. According to A, my slope is 1. Remember, the number in front of the x is your slope. So I'm going to test that. If I rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1, does that line look like it matches those dots? No. So A is not a good choice. Let's look at B. B says that my y-intercept is negative 2 and I have a slope of negative 1. So that means I go down 1, run 1, down 1, run 1. Does that line match those dots? No, it doesn't. So that doesn't match either. Now look at this. My C and D are some interesting choices. If I have y equals negative 2, remember that means I have a slope of 0. And my line would look like that. That is our choice. If it had been x equals negative 2, my line would have looked like that. So my choice for 1 is C. So let's practice this a few more times. Look at our second example. Again, I want to test my B and then my M, or my slope. So I notice in all four of my choices, we have y equals negative 1/2 x minus 1. B is y equals 1/4 x minus 1. Y equals 2x minus 1, and y equals 1/2 x minus 1. So all of my y-intercepts are negative 1. So that doesn't help me at all. Now I'm going to have to test all of these slopes. So if you look, remember, slope is what's in front of the x. So let's go through each of our choices. And what I do is I use my slope to get my next point, my next couple of points, and see which one matches up with the dots. So I can already tell these dots seem to go up but the slope in A is negative. So that means I would go down 1, run 2. I'm going to go ahead and mark that out because we can clearly see that's a positive line. Now let's test B. The slope is 1/4. Rise 1, run 1, 2, 3, 4. If I draw that line, that's way off. So that's not going to be my choice, a good choice. So I'm marking out B. Now let's go to C. We have 2 as a slope. Remember, a slope of 2 means I rise 2, I run 1. So let's go to my y-intercept. Rise 1, 2, run 1. Rise 1, 2, run 1. Look at that line. That's nowhere near the dots. So that's not going to be a good choice. So finally, we can tell by process of elimination the answer is D, but let's look at why. The slope is 1/2. That means I rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. Now look at that. Look how close to all the dots that is. So my choice for number 2 is D. Let's keep going. Number 3. So if I take a look at number 3, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Oops, sorry about that. So the first thing I want to test is my B. So I'm going to circle that in all of my equations. So I have a 1, a 2, positive 2. There's nothing here, so it's going to be at 0 and a negative 2. So let's test these. And honestly, I love this because it looks like that might be enough, but we'll see. So if I put a positive 1, yeah, that might not be enough. Let's go ahead and test that slope of 1. Rise 1, run 1. Uh-oh, these dots actually go down, or the black dots go down, but that equation said to go up. So that's why it's not choice A. I'm actually going to eliminate D because it also has a positive slope. And these dots go down. So now let's test choice B. It said a y-intercept of 2, and then the slope is negative 1. That means I rise down 1, run 2. Rise down 1, run 1. Rise down 1, run 1. Does that line look like it matches our dots? No. So that means choice B is not an appropriate choice. Now let's look at C. Start at 0, 0. The slope is negative 1/2, so that means I go down 1, run 2. Down 1, run 2. And look at that. That line pretty much matches my dots. So that's why my answer for this one is C. Let's do a few more. Okay, so now take a look at number 4. Remember, guys, all I'm doing is testing my B, my y-intercept, and my M, my slope. So let's find our B's first. So I've got a negative 1, a plus 0, a negative 1, and another plus 0. Before I even go on, I can already tell 2 of these are not going to be choices. See how these lines appear, or these dots appear to go up? I have 2 with negative slopes. B and C have negative slopes. So that's not a good choice. Now let's test the other 2. Let's test A. So it has a y-intercept of negative 1 and a slope of 1. Remember, that means I rise 1, run 1. Rise 1, run 1. Rise 1, run 1. If I draw that line, does that match? It looks a little bit too far down. So let me test D. So it says to start at 0. My y-intercept is 0. And there's nothing in front of the x, so my slope is 1. Rise 1, run 1. So from my B, which is here, I rise 1, run 1. Rise 1, run 1. And now when I look at that. And you'll just do that with your pencil. You'll test this and hold your pencil up. Yes, that line matches very well. So I'm actually going to say D is the line of best fit. Let's take a look at A. All of these are a little tough because I don't see the 15. So I'm just actually going to have to pick a point and test my 3 slopes. So I'm going to pick this point right here. Doesn't matter which one, guys. I just want you to be able to get your slope in. Oh, I might even have to go up a little bit more. Let's see, because I noticed one of these slopes is -6. So watch this. Let's test the slope for A. Down 1 over 3. That's nowhere near the pattern. See how it's nowhere near those dots? So A is out. And again, I just chose this point. Let's test the slope of -6. That means I go down 6 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1. That one looks a little bit too far to the left. So I'm going to say not yet on that one. Let's test -3 for C. That means I go down 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. Y'all, those dots mix right in with those others. So my line of best fit is going to be C. And last but not least, let's do example 6. So on example 6, we are going to, look, they all have the same y-intercept. So let's go ahead and mark that 3. So it looks to me like my choice is now going to be based on my slope. Can I eliminate anything based on the slope? Well, look at this one. That's the only negative one. Do these dots go down or do they go up? Well, they go up. A negative slope would mean they go down, and that's just not true. So now let's test all the others. So let's test A. The slope on A is 4, so that means we rise 4, run 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, run 1. If I draw that line, no, that doesn't match the points at all. So that's out. Now let's test B. I rise 1, run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see how that line matches up. No, that doesn't match up with the dots either. So it's not B. Lastly, let's test D. And the slope of D is 3/4. So rise 3, 1, 2, 3. See that? I start at my 3. 1, 2, 3. Run 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at this, guys. That actually matches right up with my points or my scatter plots. So my line of best fit for number 6 is D.